What is going on, y'all? This is John with Facemask Fantasy, and before I get into anything, I wanted to shout out that we have our 2022 redraft draft kit available for free on our website. 30 plus pages of great content going into pretty much every player in fantasy that has any sort of relevance. Go to our website, check it out. It is also in the second link of any description moving forward in any of our videos as we move into the 2022 regular season. But without further ado, let's get into our topic for today. And today we're talking about Isiah Pacheco because he's been in the news as it pertains to fantasy and the NFL a lot recently, and he's a guy that we really got to dig into. So who is Isiah Pacheco? The Chiefs selected former Rutgers running back Isiah Pacheco with the 251st overall pick in the 2022 NFL draft. He comes in at 5'10", 216 pounds, and Pacheco was a 4-year contributor at Rutgers and put up relatively unimpressive numbers at Rutgers. He put up 2,442 rushing yards and 18 touchdowns on 563 rushes, along with 47 receptions for 249 receiving yards and one single receiving touchdown across the 43 games for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. He never received more than 169 attempts in a year, and his high watermark was in 2019 in his sophomore season, where he put up 729 yards and 7 touchdowns. Not exactly stellar production on the ground given he was playing at Rutgers. Needless to say, he was not really a running back that was on many teams' draft boards before the draft process started. But then the combine happened, and Pacheco turned heads at the combine by posting a 4.37 40-yard dash at 216 pounds no less. That's in the 99th percentile at the running back position. He also put up 27 bench reps at the combine, which was in the 93rd percentile. He is a speed strength freak at the position, and combine that with his 73rd percentile BMI, and we're left wondering why he didn't achieve more in college, especially considering the competition he was playing up against. According to Pro Football Focus, just 28 of his 562 career attempts went for more than 15 yards. For comparison, Kenneth Walker III had 30 runs of 15 or more yards just last season. Now, to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, he did not play behind a good offensive line, but the point still stands, he did not consistently create yards on his own, illustrated by a 4.1 college yards per carry, which is 6th percentile, and in the Big Ten no less. It's not like he was doing it in the SEC. But his combine numbers were enough to earn him 7th round draft capital, and he ended up in a great position to rise up his new NFL depth chart with the Chiefs, who are seemingly in search of their new RB1 despite drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of LSU at the end of the first round in 2020. Clyde Edwards-Helaire saw his attempts, his rush yards, his yards per carry, his receptions, his receiving yards, and his fantasy points per game dip in year 2, and he was frustratingly often taken off the field in exchange for then number 2 running back Darrell Williams, who was far from anyone's vision of a true RB1. And let's not forget, CEH saw his numbers dip behind what should have been a much better offensive line in year 2, after they went out and spent free agency dollars on left guard Joe Thuney, traded draft picks to acquire left tackle Orlando Brown Jr. from the Baltimore Ravens, and then selected center Creed Humphrey and right guard Trey Smith in the 2021 NFL Draft. Illustrating this, CEH's O-line grade in 2020 was 44th in the league in terms of running backs, and in 2021 it was 11th, but he still regressed in most areas of his game. As a result, the Chiefs brought in Ronald Jones from the Bucs, who was much maligned for his lack of pass-catching chops and whose efficiency also seemed to fall off a cliff last year, despite running behind Tristan Wirfs, Alex Kappa, and Ali Marpet at the time. Now back to Isiah Pacheco. By all accounts, since being drafted, Pacheco has done nothing but impress thus far through rookie OTAs, minicamp, training camp, and leading up into the preseason. The Athletic's Nate Taylor reports that running back Isiah Pacheco, and I quote, will start the preseason as the primary kickoff returner, end quote. Now, kick returning duties would be a big win for the 7th round rookie, as that role would not only secure him a roster spot, but keep him active on game day. On top of that, Pacheco has already earned first team reps at the running back position in camp ahead of CEH and Ronald Jones at times, and appears to be off to a fast start in his NFL career, which is fitting for a player who ran a 4.37 40-yard dash at 5'10", 216 pounds. Now, much has been said about Pacheco's lack of vision and instincts as a running back, as well as his relative lack of pass-catching upside. But correct me if I'm wrong, those are the same things we say about Ronald Jones, who offers a similar 2-down speed profile with no special teams ability. Now, this isn't to say that Pacheco is destined to be the team's RB1, because he does face some legitimate competition. Not only is Clyde Clyde Edwards-Helaire there, Ronald Jones there, but he faces competition from 2 other undrafted free agent running backs in Jerrion Ealy and Tayon Fleet-Davis, as well as incumbents Jerick McKinnon, Derek Gore, and Brendan Knox. But it looks like Isiah Pacheco has already been given a roster spot with special teams eligibility, and the team is actively testing him out to see if he can be their new goal line back plus. And all these reports on him had me intrigued enough to go and throw on some tape of his. I know highlights are misleading, but I was impressed with his physical attributes. They popped on screen. He is not Elijah Mitchell. He's not James Robinson. But what he could be is a raw Philip Lindsay with goal line attributes. I want to temper people's expectations of him though, as we've seen similar players get close to 0 playing time in Anthony McFarland. Justice Hill also comes to mind as a pretty fast running back at 5'10" who was highly touted by the fantasy community coming out, only to never see significant playing time as a special teamer who teased us with traits and little else. But considering the draft capital you'd have to invest in Pacheco to land him, there are definitely worse flyers to take. I have him in a few dynasty leagues, and I'm happy I do. If he turns out to be Anthony McFarland 2.0, I'm okay with that, because his risk-reward ratio is super low for someone who also has a raw Philip Lindsay with more strength and size as a comp to his overall profile, and plays in an offense like the Chiefs. If he reaches his ceiling in this Chiefs offense, he could be a borderline league winner if he hits that Philip Lindsay-esque ceiling based on the draft capital you have to invest in him to land him on your fantasy team. Remember, Philip Lindsay was a league winner in his own right in his rookie season as an undrafted free agent, so we have to remember that these things happen. But what do you guys think about Isiah Pacheco? Do you think he can rise to the top of this Chiefs depth chart? Put your thoughts in the comment section below, or better yet, tune into one of our weekly live streams. We have a live stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. EST, so come through, throw your questions in the chat, and we can have a conversation about this in real time. And as we move into the regular season, I do have to let y'all know that we are upping our live streams weekly. Instead of just having 2 streams for the general public and 1 stream for our members only crowd, we are upping it to 4 streams weekly, 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Thursday, 1 on Saturday night at 6 p.m. EST for start-sit questions, and 1 on Sunday before kickoff at 10 a.m. So you can come through to those live streams once the season starts and get all your start-sit questions answered before kickoff. But this is Facemask Fantasy. My name is John. Thank you for listening and have a great day.